Hi, this is Joe Bright, and I am coming to you from Poetry Song Radio, BFD, Battle for Dominance. And I just want you to know that you can Google me. I love it when I say that. Google me. Google Johanna Bright, Bright, JohannaBright. And you can find me just about anywhere, but if you Google me, you will find me everywhere. My website is called Mama Yaya, MOMMA .wixsite, WIXSITE.com. And you can find everything that I do there. Welcome to Poetry Song Radio. I am Joe Bright. This is Poetry Song Battle for Dominance. And what I have for you tonight is my version of Hugs and Kisses, Sweet Things and Deception. That's right, sweet things and deception. You know, we get older and we think, oh, got it handled, no problem. That's so not true. We like to to think that we got it together. Most of us do not. So all of you young people out there in your early 20s and early 30s, trust me, it does not get easier. It just doesn't. What I want to play for you right now, and I'm going to stop saying because that's a bad habit I picked up from somebody else. And I'm still doing it. I want to play you this. It's called If I Could Just. I know. Poetry Song, Battle for Dominance, BFD. I'm Joe Bright. Take a listen to this. Every morning my head screams at me because of all the tasks that I left undone from the day before. No matter how many lists I make, no matter how many check marks on each line I strike off to mark the completion of the many obstacles that block my everyday, it's never done. The obstacle of just getting out of the bed, my warm and cozy, oh so wonderful bed, because the alarm went off way too soon. The dream I was having was one of my favorites. I was holding a flower to my lips, and you come up behind me and replace it with yours. And I can still feel how full and wet and soft they are. I can feel my hands caressing your hair and face. Everything is warm and soft and hard and full. And I can still feel myself drifting into that euphoria that's called an orgasm in my dreams. But that damn alarm sounds off, and as bad as I want to hit the snooze button, I know I should wake up and face the day. That damn list. That list of tasks that mean I have to accomplish something every single day. It would mean so much to me if you could just make me feel that way sometimes. I can do so much by myself, on my own. And I don't need a knight in shining armor, because I can save myself in this wretched world, most days. So don't get it wrong or get it twisted. It's not bad. I just rather have a partner sometimes. Someone who realizes that it doesn't hurt to sing the praises of the one you love. I just want you to know if you're still in this with me. Or are you just sitting on the sidelines joining in when you feel like it because it seems like too much work for you right now? So my head's just screaming, wake up! And I tell it to shut up because it's way too damn early in the morning to have to deal with this. So on the list you go too. And I hear my bed, my pillow, my cozy socks, some soft music, and hopes of my dream lover returning to me. If I could just. That's what that was called. Because that's how we feel sometimes, isn't it? We have to deal with everything all the time, every day. I wanted to talk about hugs and kisses, sweet things and deception. Why not? Do we deceive ourselves every single day without fail? I am a firm believer in that. You know why? Because I'm guilty of it too. We all are. I'm guilty of hugging and kissing people that I don't really have any passion for. I have compassion for them, but I have absolutely no passion for them. And we do that because we want to be nice people. You know, we want people to understand that we're compassionate. But then, like I said before, there's times when we shouldn't hug people or kiss them. That's because we're signing off on their bullshit when we do that. Yep. When we do want to hug our moms, we do want to hug our dads, because mom and dad, man, they give the best hugs. Mom gives this compassionate and loving and supportive hug. Dad gives this strong, confident, you can do anything kind of hug. You know, you got hugs from your friends and your siblings. And then you have hugs from your partner, that person that you share a bed with or a car with, that person who signs off on your bullshit when you need them to, and then they call you on it later. Um, those kind of hugs and kisses you need all the time as adults. We don't get them when we need them. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Um, we want somebody to sign off on us. And it's not always bullshit. Sometimes it's just that, you're having a hard day, you're having a bad day, you're having a good day, you're having a difficult day. Maybe you started your day off and you knew today was not going to be that day that you wanted to talk about. But if you just had somebody in your corner, a hug would do it. Seriously. When my husband and I first got married, we were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Yeah. We thought we knew what we were getting ourselves into when we first got married. And don't all new married people do that? That might be why divorce is so high. When we hugged and kissed each other and made love in all kinds of places, all the time, because we were young. And we said sweet things to each other. And we made each other feel good. And we set up our lives and we had kids and, conjoined our finances, and he worked and I worked and the children got older and before you knew it, it seemed like the hugs and the kisses and the sweet things is just like this passing thing that happened. And you can't tell whether or not if you meant it anymore, but you did it anyway. And so we ask ourselves, are we deceiving ourselves when we do things like that? How much do we really mean it? I really meant it when I said it. I really meant it when I did it. And I think about how I felt about those things when I did those things. And, total recall does not happen to everybody. It's been a long time since anybody said to me, girl, do you remember that time? We grow up and we get away from each other. And so we want to say sweet things and nice things to each other and hug and kiss each other because we don't want that last time that we saw somebody to be the time when we said something unkind to them or made them feel bad or just, drop the truth on them. I mean, just let's be real. Because we need to drop a truth on each other sometimes just so we can give ourselves that great big reality check. That check yourself before you wreck yourself kind of thing going on. Because that's the society that we live in right now. And when you're in a relationship with the person, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to check them. You do. And it's a check out of love, but it's still a check. You don't have to think that it's going to be the end all of your relationship if you open your mouth and say something after you hug and kiss them. Because you can hug and kiss them and still drop a truth on them that's going to help them. Listen to this piece right here I got. It's called Why Not Us? Is it because I decided that our chances of living life in a safe environment increased exponentially when we moved into a small town surrounded by people who really aren't that interested in our welfare, but were and are still more concerned in the welfare population in their small town? Infested with concern. But I digress. This isn't about them. It's about us. It's about why it's my fault. As if I put a gun to your head and coerced you into making a decision based on fear. Well, what could I possibly frighten you with? How could I possibly threaten you? You who has held sway over my heart, my body, my breath. Is it because I was right and you weren't wrong? But you saw the logic in my perception and you decided with me instead of against me? Now you want to blame me because you decided now was a good time to voice your emotions after it's been all said and done for so long? While no decision is perfect, and I still can't tell the future,
but the outcome has been favorable so far. But you can't be happy. You can't see the serenity of our life because you keep seeing the chaos of another. It's not our life that's tumultuous. Is it because you don't believe in happiness, contentment, serenity, peace? I know I don't believe in fairy tales, but there has to be a happy ending for someone. Why not us? We're not at the end, but we are at that part of love where we should be able to look out on the horizon and not be afraid to look back and certainly smile at each other because through it all, we overcame that desire to bail out and give up. And we both persevered through the storms as they came and thrashed down on our lives, threatening to rip us apart. But we're still here. We both know how to weather the storm. So, why not us?
Hi, I'm Joe Bright, and this is Poetry Song Radio, BFD, Battle for Dominance. And I'm talking about hugs and kisses, sweet things, and deception. Yep, that's something we don't get to talk about much these days because we're so busy talking about, so many other things. We've been deceived. We have been horribly deceived. And sometimes we get deceived by the people that we really care about. You put your heart and your soul into something, and before you know it, you look up and you go, wait, wait a minute. I did not expect that to happen. You talk things out with a person, you lay down the law, you come to an agreement, you tell each other, hey, this is the way it's going to be, and if this happens or that happens. I mean, seriously, we make agreements. We shake it out, we hug it out, we tap it out, we pat it out, and then we go forward. And somewhere along the line, all the hugs and all the kisses become something that we wish we did not do. Can you imagine having a relationship with somebody and then saying, wow, wish I didn't say that, wish I didn't do that, wish I'd have thought more about what I was doing before I got into what I was doing. It's hard, right? It is. When I was younger, I was a very forgiving person. I allowed myself to be that person who always looked on the bright side of things. I mean, I got tired of hearing myself say, well, I grew up in the projects. I was in a big family. We didn't have anything. But here I was an adult, and I wasn't that little girl anymore. So I said, well, I got to start acting like an adult. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. Now, mind you, I was in my early 20s at the time, and so behaving like an adult was really something new. And any young person today will tell you that it's difficult at best because you're around your friends and you don't want to come off like a punk or nothing like that. But the reality is you start saying things that you want to mean, but you really don't mean them. And that's where these sweet things come into play. You want to be accepted. There's peer pressure. There's that camaraderie that you just have to have. Not wanting to be at home alone, talking to somebody on your cell or texting. Social media is huge, man. Social media is so much pressure. You want to be out there. You want to be with your friends. You want to talk to them. You want to chat. You want to watch videos. You want to get involved. And you say things that you mean, but you also say things that you don't mean, and we lie about who we are. Those are those sweet things, and we deceive ourselves into believing that everything is okay when it's not. And we go on social media and we convince ourselves that If I just go on social media and I just get lost in all of the chatter, because there's a lot of that. I get lost in all of the chatter and the pictures of people doing things, saying things, being somewhere, taking pictures, taking more videos, commenting, liking, reposting, tweeting, Snapchatting, Instagramming, Facebooking, you name it. And then before we know it, we've completely forgotten what it was why we got on that social media platform in the first place. And it's really all a whole lot of sweet things going on. And we're afraid to tell the truth. And we deceive ourselves into thinking that everything is okay. And that's really, really hard to deal with. I'm Joe Bright. This is Poetry Song Battle for Dominance. And I have kind of a cold. That's the sniffle that you hear. The weather here in the great northeast, central. I don't know why they call it central. It don't feel central to me. It just feels cold. And sometimes it feels wet. But lately it's just been feeling windy. And somehow I caught a cold. How about that? Anyway, I have a piece I want to share with you that I wrote. It wasn't that long ago. But I think it's appropriate for now. It's the foundation of who we are. It's where we come from and what we do. It's about me. It's about you. It's about growing up. Take a listen. This thing called self-image. The who I am right now. So, I'm looking in the mirror at this person and she's staring back at me. And she's gotten a little older. And she has the tiny gray hairs on her temples, some small creases in her face, and her eyes seem a little deeper set and just a little darker. There's wisdom there. Was my nose always this big? And my complexion pale? But there's an eerie confidence about her now that wasn't there before. Before, I was this girl who portrayed a self-confidence that wavered when a more self-confident person came along. She was always in danger of being molded and shaped into somebody that she didn't want to be, but she was too timid about the process of growing, and she would let somebody lead her to that person she wanted to be because she didn't know how to do it herself. She was somebody I don't know now. But there she is staring at me from the other side of the mirror. And I really have put her through a lot over the years. In the beginning, her life was like a maze and navigation was difficult at best. And sometimes, no matter what decision she opted for, she worried about the outcome. And when she saw what that decision brought, she questioned whether she should go back and do something else because really, what if she decided con against pro or pro against con? I mean, because the pros never seemed to gain much and always seemed to be the odd one out and always wondered why. And the questions kept coming, even after the answers were given. But she kept moving forward. Her life to her at first always to her, seemed so unfair. She wanted to know why making the choice to be good was so great. Why was it so great? Because good was so boring, and she didn't like going back on her word. She was an honest person. I was an honest person to myself. So she, I, me, we learned what integrity really meant in action. She was always in danger of being shaped into someone I'm not and didn't ever want to be. She kept her guard up, way up. So far up, she, me, I almost shut everyone out. But was that a bad thing? Had she, me, I not opened the door, taken the chains off, or peeked through the curtains, we could have become someone else, not the who I am now. Now, I like her smile. She's friendly and outgoing and helpful.
She never lets anything bring her down, and she doesn't cower in a corner when she finds herself dealing with adversity. I like that she looks people in the eye when speaking to them. She laughs and giggles and tells really bad jokes. When she was younger, much younger, she cried at the drop of a pen. But we learned how to choose which battles were worth fighting. And so now the tears shed from this pretty face are for those chosen few. You know, her hands were so much stronger before now. I mean, she could pop open a jar like there was nothing to it. Lift loads and loads of laundry, trash, garden leaf bags, boxes, bunk bags, the kind of heavy lifting that needs to be done over a lifetime. But our hands, they don't seem to have any signs of aging. I mean, no marks, no wrinkles, no fine lines, just smooth skin, just hands. But they can't do all the things they used to do. And that's okay, because who wants to tote that barge their entire life? Life has dealt the same cards over and over. The deck even got reshuffled a couple of times from what she could see. There have been new decisions and courses of actions, a turnaround in my mindset, a shift in the way things are, and here I am, who I am right now. I mean, maybe you don't get it. Maybe you don't see it. Maybe you're trying too hard to make sense of it. Maybe there's no sense to be made. Life, my life at least, has been a culmination of events so wondrous, like birth and death. Some horrific, like birth and death. Some that can categorically be labeled an enigma, like birth and death. But whatever the case may be, I'm not anywhere near the end, and I'm really just getting around to the real middle. So I'm just looking at this girl in the mirror who just stares back at me, and I wonder where she got the strength to keep going, to persevere, when all she wanted to do was just let someone, anyone, anybody take over and call it a life. But she's right there. Still me. Still breathing. Still choosing her battles and crying for the chosen few. I like that one. It's really about me, about you, about us, because we mature in life. And we think about, I gotta say it, we think about the hugs and the kisses and the sweet things and the deceptions that have gone on through our life, and we learn from them. Many of us learn from those deceptions. We can tell when somebody's being phony with us. We can tell when they're coming in for a hug and they just as phony. Oh, their cologne smell bad. Their perfume smells bad. Their hug feels awkward. It's a tap and a pat on your back, on your shoulder, and it's insincere. The insincerity is dripping from them, and all you want to do is just walk away because the awkwardness of it all it's just mind-boggling. That's the way it is, isn't it? We deceive ourselves constantly, regularly, on a regular basis, at work, at home, with our friends, socially, when we open the door. People, it's just an all-day thing, and we have to think about it. My name is Joe Bright. This is Poetry Song BFD, Battle for Dominance. Follow me on Facebook at Excerpts from My Resume. But if you really want to know what I'm up to now, go to my website, Mama Yaya, MOMMAYAYA.wixsite, WIXSITE.com/website. And you will find out what I'm up to. Or you can go to my other one, is mamayaya.wixsite.com/my site. That's my blog site. I tend to overdo things because I have a lot going on in my head, and I just have to get it all out at one time.
I'm an entrepreneur. Most of us are these days. The times that we live in now require that we branch out and take care of ourselves. I don't tell myself too many sweet things. I think I've outgrown that. But that's okay. Speaking of outgrowing things, I got one I want to play for you. It's called Children. Children. They grow up, you know. They don't always become what we want them to be, but they're always our babies. One day, they're all screaming and yelling and running around with their runny noses because they won't keep on their socks on the drafty floor, pinching and punching and squealing high-pitched tones of joy, sorrow, pain, excitement, as they putter about the house, breaking things, touching things, exploring things, making things out of nothing. One day, they won't be so small. One day, they won't be in the house all day. They'll go off to school and make friends and enemies and form attachments. They'll discover a life away from home that will be so exciting and wondrous at the same time. They'll come home at the end of each of their days with stories to tell. Some will be secret. They won't tell even their closest friend, sister, or brother. But the adventures they will have will take place away from us. And they will grow up, and they will cherish them because as they grow older, they will need us less and less. But for right now, they do. They need us to wake them in the morning for school, to make them breakfast and remind them about their homework and chores and those responsibilities that will mold them into adults. They will argue and pout and scream and yell, but for different reasons now. Because they will want to hold on to being a child. And they will long for the day that they can be an adult. And they will be confused, frustrated, happy, depressed, and excited. And we will want them to grow up and still be our children. We will want them to want us more in that day and really just be so happy when they don't. They will leave the house one day. And they won't return. Not as children anymore. They will go to school and make friends and enemies and form attachments. And they will have experiences in the world that are wondrous and exciting and secretive. And they will have stories to tell. Some they won't share with their closest friend, sister, or brother. They will come to us. And they will listen. And we will wish that they were our babies again. For that just brief moment. And then they will leave the house. When we first met, you gave me the hardest time. We shook hands and you stared me square in the eye. You smiled from ear to ear, big teeth, sheepish grin. I didn't know if I could trust you, but there was sincerity there. The next time I saw you, it was at your home with your family. You were so gracious. Call me by my first name, you said. We're friends. But you were so hard to get close to in my mind. I'd never met any one person quite like you. For every subject, you have a story. You said you could remember every book you ever read, and you proved it. I was impressed. But what did I know at the time? You held some pretty interesting jobs and had seen 2 wars and a few excursions by the way you tell it. You have a love for cars and baseball and cowboys. Didn't see that coming from the look of you. But aren't you strange? A black cowboy in the city who drives a truck and eats vegetarian on good days, but not at all opposed to a well-charged steak with potatoes. Today you say you don't drink, but you're no stranger to tequila and Corona. And that's cool, because I never saw you drunk. Maybe I did, but by the time I found out you drank, you held the softest spot in my heart. I couldn't see you as anything except perfect. Married to your high school sweetheart, 5 handsome children, a loving family. You tell the worst jokes, but you give the best advice. I've never seen you
or heard you raise your voice in anger in the 30 years I've known you? Or has it been longer? To think you drove for a living on the open road but managed to come home to your family every night. You made decisions based on the well-being of your family, and nothing was too good for them. Now, it's been a lot of years, and you and I, we sit together in quiet places, and I call you Dad. You don't work anymore because the years have finally caught up with you, and you've said farewell to your mom and dad, your brother and wife, and most recently your son. I know the man you are, that you would have taken their place, each one of them, if you could. You are a pillar of strength and integrity and love and sacrifice and giving. You've taught your children to be just like you. And that's a very good thing. But I married into your life, and you made my transition easier than I ever thought it would be. You and Mom loved me as your own child and never denied me your love and support. I know you better than my own father, and he was a good man too. Yours is a deep, compassionate love learned from your father and the man before him. And you let me into your life, and you never let me go. You are father and daughter now, and you and your family became mine. When I said farewell to my dad, you stepped up and filled his shoes with your big heart, and you made my loss feel better. Because that's what dads do. So now, I do what daughters do. I will hold on, and I won't let go of you. I will show deep love and compassion for you until your loss feels better.
That's pretty much how I felt about my father-in-law. I wasn't raised with my dad. I got to know him when I became an adult. I mean, really got to know him. My parents divorced when I was younger. But my father-in-law and I had a very honest, open, and I want to say friendly relationship. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was quite the man, and that is my ode to him. I I have my mom. She's still with me, and that's the only parent I really have left. I want to talk about really quickly my relationship, not my relationship, but personal relationships. Let's be real simple, true, and honest with each other in our personal relationships with each other. By all means, hug and kiss each other and say nice things, sweet things to each other. But let's not deceive ourselves into thinking that if we say these things that we're somehow washing over and making other things go away. We have to use our words, and we have to enunciate, and we have to let everyone who is within our life, who is a part of our everyday life, know how we feel. That is just really just so important, because when we do that, it's healthy and it allows us to move forward in our lives. When we don't do it, it becomes this cyst, this tumor that festers in our life, and it makes us feel bad. And quite honestly, I don't even know how we manage to even go through our days. We get sick. We have a headache. We're stressed out. Every time we allow ourselves to just hug and kiss and say something nice and say, oh, I want to deal with it right now. Don't do that, people. Trust me. I'm not a doctor, but I'm a human being. I have lived on this planet for a while, and I know what it means to deceive myself into saying and thinking and being and doing things. True story. Anyway, I got one last one I want to share with you. And it's called The Diva. It's something that I wrote a while back. This is one recorded version I have left. But before I share that with you, I want to share this one with you. And I call it Liar, Liar. Be prepared. You lied to me. 2 more years, you said.
2 more years and it will be over. And I believed you. Everything I did in my life, every decision I made was based on what you said. 2 more years. 2 more years and it will be all over. And then it would just be me and you. But see, it wasn't just that. You made promises. You gave me hope. Every day I counted forward to the end of those 2 years. I prepared. I organized. I cut loose people in my life I thought were holding me down, kept me from my goals and your goals, our goals. I hedged my all on 2 years. And I kept going. I did everything I was supposed to do. I kept working on the plan. I kept waking up every day. I kept my focus. I knew the plan. I showered, I cooked, I cleaned, I went to work. I accepted everything on a promise. We agreed this was how it had to be, the plan. We invested every fiber of our being into it. 2 years. That's all. Stay with me. The end is near. I trusted you. I had no reason not to. You lied to me. When you look at her, beyond the beauty that sparkles from her attire, coiffed hair, immaculate makeup, smoky eyes, perfect lips, iridescent cheeks, the teardrop earrings, the studded necklace that stops just short of her cleavage, as if to draw you from the obvious beauty of her skin, but really only draws you in deeper. After you've pulled yourself away from the way her gown caressed and flowed away from her voluptuous frame like a lover gently releasing her from his embrace, you're so completely enthralled with her beauty as she strides before the microphone and clasps it gently, at times, but tonight with vigor, desire, and a ferocity that startles you back into reality. Her eyes scan the audience as she would her most beloved possessions because, let's be real, her struggles in life are not all born of love or hatred. Your audience represent every infinitesimal, idealistic, animalistic, motivational, instrumental, patriarchal, spiritual, financial, hysterical, loyal, ambivalent, medicinal, literal, fanatical, and emotional moment of her ever-spanning life. She opens her mouth, and the sounds that emanate from her pouty lips have a life force all their own. It reaches to the very rafters in the back of the club, and you wonder why she needs the mic at all. Her song it's always one of love. How she met love and fell in love with love, and how love taught her, brought her, distraught her, fought with her, convinced her, kept her up late, woke her up early, and accused her, misused her, abused her, how it held her captive, how love was her judge, jury, and executioner. Through her song, she longed for love to be her friend, confidant. She wants love to be an extension of herself, her protector, mediator, weapon, and when all the songs are done and her final breath taken, as she lets out the final chord of her song, to be loved, appreciated, and clamored for, because she may not get the chance to express her desire of love in song again. This could be her final song. Her swan song. So tonight, she will pull you into her world where she caresses you with her love song of life and guide you gently through the melody that will stay with you long after the chorus is sung and music dies down and you will clamor for more. They all do. The time will come when she will have to end it all, and as lovingly as possible, she will turn and walk away from you and the band and return to her reality without you. There, she will exhale quietly in the confines of her solitude, smile, and relive every second of her time before you. Relish it. Not for the applause, although appreciated and yes, longed for, but because she shared with you a most intimate part of herself that can only be shared with others. Her gift.
I especially like that one because isn't that what we do? We're not all necessarily divas, but we share our gifts with each other, passing strangers even, because we want to be acknowledged, we want to be hugged, we want to be kissed, we want to hear sweet things. And we are also willing to deceive ourselves into thinking that if we do that, everything's just going to be fine. And that's not always the case. But that's what we do. I'm Joe Bright. This is Poetry Song BFD, Battle for Dominance. Battle for the words in my mind, in my heart, and my soul. I created this platform to get the word out there about poetry. A lot of people think, poetry. We love spoken word artists, but for some reason we think poetry is different. That's not true. Poetry and spoken word artistry are one and the same. They're presented differently. I tried being a spoken word artist. I do not have that talent, but I do know how to write poetry. So I created this platform for poets. I'm Joe Bright. This is Poetry Song BFD, Battle for Dominance. And I want you to hear this one last thing.
Is it because I decided that our chances of living life in a safe environment increased exponentially when we moved into a small town surrounded by people who really aren't that interested in our welfare, but were and are still more concerned in the welfare population in their small town? Infested with concern. But I digress. This isn't about them. It's about us. It's about why it's my fault. As if I put a gun to your head and coerced you into making a decision based on fear. Well, what could I possibly frighten you with? How could I possibly threaten you? You who has held sway over my heart, my body, my breath. Is it because I was right and you weren't wrong? But you saw the logic in my perception and you decided with me instead of against me? Now you want to blame me because you decided now was a good time to voice your emotions after it's been all said and done for so long? While no decision is perfect, and I still can't tell the future, but the outcome has been favorable so far. But you can't be happy. You can't see the serenity of our life because you keep seeing the chaos of another. It's not our life that's tumultuous. Is it because you don't believe in happiness, contentment, serenity, peace? I know I don't believe in fairy tales, but there has to be a happy ending for someone. Why not us? We're not at the end, but we are at that part of love where we should be able to look out on the horizon and not be afraid to look back and certainly smile at each other because through it all, we overcame that desire to bail out and give up. And we both persevered through the storms as they came and thrashed down on our lives, threatening to rip us apart. But we're still here. We both know how to weather the storm. So, why not us?
Hugs and kisses, sweet things and deception. We do that to each other. We don't mean to, but it happens. And those hugs and kisses can be so real, so true, so sincere. But trust me, it happens, and it happens to all of us. I'm Joe Bright. This is Poetry Song, BFD, Battle for Dominance. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of what I thought about hugs and kisses, sweet things and deception. Y'all have a great day. Play this over and over. Download it even. I think you should. Guess what, y'all? Hugs and kisses to you.
Hug your kids, hug your family, hug your spouse, hug your significant other, and be thankful. And don't deceive yourself into thinking that it's any more than what it is. I love you. Enjoy the journey with me. This is Poetry Song, Battle for Dominance. I'm your host, Joe Bright. Have a great day.